Hi, everybody. Welcome to Toolkit Tuesday. I wanted to record today our video rather than a live chat, just to share some thoughts and feelings about how things are going in our event planning world and some things that have been on my mind, and hopefully some tips that will help you manage getting through some of this. I will include a supporting PowerPoint deck with the points from today so that when you get that information, you can have the material alongside of the video for reference. So I hope you're all doing well and hanging in there. Um, Please follow us on YouTube, Toolkit Tuesday. Love to have you guys be able to access the content we're providing, or follow us on Instagram at Toolkit Event, and just stay plugged into the community. We've gotten great feedback about sharing the content, and we hope to grow and be able to continue to provide tips and tools and best practices for event planners. The first thing I want to talk about today is working from home. I have owned Proper Planning for 20 years, and I have worked from home or on the road in a hotel somewhere most of those years. So the act of incorporating your life and your office into the same environment is a bit challenging. But here's some tips I have for you. So jumping right in, there's the 6 S's of home office that I've kind of worked by, and it served me well. The first one is to stay on a schedule. Even though you're at home, to stay on what a typical work schedule would look like for you. I think that just routine creates you're mentally in that timing, your body, your mind, you're kind of ready to do the normal routine of work, and you have less distraction and less opportunity to get bored or be lack of productivity when you're on a schedule. The next one is to separate. Create a separate workspace that is fairly private and soundproof, and you want to minimize those distractions. And one tip for those with little kids, when I worked at home, I created a stop sign just out of construction paper and on a stick, and I would put it underneath my door, and the kids were little and they would know when it was red, don't disturb mom, I'm on a call. When it was yellow, knock lightly and come in and see if I was in the middle of something. And then if it was green, come in and visit me. I'm working on a project, but I'd love to be able to chat. So they were very young, and they quickly understood that I had a separate office in the home, but they knew whether or not I was open to being interrupted at that point. So just kind of a little creative idea that may help you if you've got, I don't know if that works for pets or husbands, but just an idea there. The other thing is to get up and take a shower, put on your shoes, try to, again, put yourself in a mental space where you're ready to be productive. I am certainly guilty of having my pajamas on at 2 o'clock when the UPS man comes, but I think if there's a way to get into that structure of the same work routine, it will serve you well. Again, it kind of just preps your mind and your body that it's time to get things done. Also, snacks. I think it's super important. You can find yourself distracted by feeling I'm hungry, I'm going to go hang in the kitchen for a while. So if you put some healthy snacks near you on your desk area like you would in a work office, to just keep that brain food going throughout the day and avoid you from getting up and going shopping for snacks. And then the last one is to stretch, to get up and walk around on a regular basis. Stretch, your body is sitting, so stretch out all those muscles that have been tight sitting on your desk, and stretch out your arms and your hands that have been typing at a computer all day, just like you would in a regular work environment. But try to stick to that at a home office again. So stick to a schedule, create a separate space, shower, put your shoes on, get your snacks ready, and get ready to stretch to keep the mind and the blood flowing and keep you productive. The next tip I want to share is sharpening your skills right now and building your community. I think this is definitely a silver lining and a gift of time, to be able to be better, to be a better professional, to really have more skills at your fingertips and more resources and more people in your community to call on when we get back to business as usual, or the new normal, whatever that looks like. So I would suggest find some great resources. Find interest, search for industry resources through all of the trade associations. I'm sure you're seeing information coming to you about classes and webinars. So take the time to participate in those, find the resources, templates. I've seen a lot of demos and things like that. So take the time to maybe schedule in your routine for the day an educational hour, and do that like you would if you're working in an office. Maybe you schedule yoga for an hour outside the office, but in your office with less of a workload if that's what you're facing. And some are busier than ever, but if this is the case, fill that with a structured educational opportunity to grow your skill set or grow your community. I think that connecting and joining into industry chat groups and private Facebook groups. I just joined a Slack group from a vendor, and it's been phenomenal. The ability to ask questions and crowdsource answers from other planners has been tremendous. So connect so you have the intaking of your sharpening your tools, building your community, but get engaged in industry conversation and allow yourself the ability to crowdsource answers, solutions, recommendations, ask for those who've had an experience. I was in this Slack group and I was talking about virtual event solutions, and we were all sharing the different tools we've been using, and most people had an opinion about how it worked for them. So learn the lessons from your peers by engaging in these chat rooms. I also think it's important to test drive and get really proficient at these tools. And by that, I mean, schedule a call with your team to, if you have a virtual webinar coming up for a client, schedule a test with the speakers that are going to be participating, but also test with your team. Get in there and do multiple rehearsals so that everybody's feeling very comfortable with these new tools. Take them for a test drive, see how they run. The other thing that you could take advantage of right now to build your skill set and build your community would be certification. If you've ever considered becoming a CMP or a CSEP or the other designations out there, this is a great time to invest in you and enroll in these certification programs, study, take the test, make yourself more valuable when you come back into the marketplace if you've been furloughed. But invest in yourself and again, grow your skill set, but also put that certification on there so that you can be a better professional. The third tip is around these virtual tools. And what I'm finding, it's really interesting as people move to having an interest on a virtual event, they're kind of freaking out over which virtual platform to use, and throwing all the other planning things out the window. They're most concerned about the tool. How's it going to work? What's it going to cost? And I really am trying to calibrate these folks into the fact that this is just like you picking a venue. You really should dig into an RFP process, a request for proposal. You need to identify all of your needs from a virtual event tool. Put them in an RFP proposal. List your capacities that you need. List the date and times. List the tools that you have available to you. Are you looking for them to live stream or do the whole thing? Or really outline your needs for the meeting. Create an RFP, and then send that to 2 or 3 virtual tool vendors, and ask them to reply with pricing, testimonials, links to their work so you can see how that just as you would do a site visit at a hotel, you can go in and request these virtual vendors do a demo and show you their work of other events they've produced, and you can get an idea of what that guest experience will be, just like you would have if you'd gone to the hotel and looked at the guest room. You want to get into the back end of these tools and see how they work. I think it's super important in that RFP process, again, to ask for referrals. And anyone who's worth their salt would be happy to share other meeting planners' names and numbers and emails to make an ask to see, how did you like working with this virtual event vendor? Tell us about the challenges, tell us about the wins and how it served you. So don't be afraid to ask for them, those referrals. I also think the pricing model is similar to any other vendor that you engage. Oftentimes their first price is not their last price. And so when you look at the proposals, and it's interesting, I've received 3 this week proposals from virtual tours, and one was 5,000 and one was 94,000. And I had the same RFP. So it was a little crazy trying to make sense of these proposals, just like it is sometimes when you get an AV bid or something and you're not sure what the MXR plug into the this and that. If you don't understand, if they haven't properly priced it out so you can understand, get on a call with them, work through that, and understand the pricing model and that it meets your needs. You're not buying more than you need, and then you're not skimping so that you have a challenging experience. And then negotiate. Ask that vendor where there could be some cost savings. In one conversation with the $94,000 tool, in those conversations, we really got into it, and he's like, well, you don't really need this. This is an option. It's not required to produce your show. I mean, we really found some hidden costs, and I think, again, make yourself an educated consumer so that you can advocate on behalf of your client for the best tool at the best price, but to ensure that you have what you need. And I also think it's important, just like you would maybe with a, venue comparison, that you make a grid, you list all your needs across the top, you list all the potential vendors down the side, and you put in the pricing for everything, and then you do a comparison. What are the pros and cons of each of these vendors? How does it compare financially? How does it compare in tech support? Really do a great evaluation process, and do your due diligence to find the right virtual event vendor. The next tip I want to talk about is sales. And I heard a great tip once that said sales solves everything. And, as a business, you can cut back expenses, but if you can find a way to generate sales, that's going to make life a whole lot better. And I know it's challenging right now, but I think every business owner needs to consider themselves the director of sales and marketing. And I think that it's a time for us to proactively be figuring out our business models, know your numbers of your business, where's the profit margin, profit centers, what services are you offering, and how are you charging for those, and maybe reevaluate those at this time. I think it's really important to reach out to your current clients and come from a place of care and concern, but also ask to be informed. What are their internal discussions or thoughts around their upcoming events? Having your finger on the pulse of your current clients and their intention to continue to work with you and at what rate is important for you to understand what's coming in the doors. And then I think it's imperative that you prospect. I know that might be a dirty word for some of you guys, but again, as a business owner, really think about maybe 5 or 10 events that you would love to have in your portfolio and research them. Go to their websites, dig in, watch a video from last year, find out who they're currently using. Reach out again from a place of care and concern, but also as a resource. Hey, I just want you to know we're doing a tremendous amount of virtual events. If you need assistance or your event team internally needs, professional input and support, we're here for that. I just think it's not only okay, I think it's imperative that we put that sales hat on and start identifying new clients that we want to bring into the fold and be prepared for that. And to that end, I think you need to revisit all your marketing. Really look at your website. Take the time right now to reframe, put up fresh pictures, freshen the messaging of what you do, add verbiage that you would do virtual events. Take a look at all of your marketing materials, and are they up to date, and are they the best way to communicate what you bring to the table as a professional event planning company that can support. If you're internal, think about your messages of what you're sharing with the rest of the corporation about events. This would be a great time to do some research and say, we have X amount of events a year and it impacts this amount of people, and our intention is to continue to support internal events in this way. We've added this service, put that through the different departments. We now know how to really put on a great virtual event. We're here to help, all of that good stuff. So the other thing that I'm taking the time to do right now is to identify and investigate new potential partners, vendors. I had a call this week with a new video vendor, and I was like, tell me, we have other AV companies and other video vendors that we've worked with, been in business 20 years. So of course we have those people on our bench, but tell me about your company. How are you different? Tell me what your competitive advantage is. Tell me your perspective on telling stories through video. Let me understand your pricing model. How do you typically do that? Let me meet your team. He brought in 2 or 3 other team members. They shared their work. They showed off. They did a demo. They showed video that they've captured from other events, and it was very impressive. So I think it's important to have a deep and wide bench of vendors. And this is an opportunity right now to take the time, which you probably usually don't have, and research new partners. If you have an event that comes online when we get back at this and your AV team is not available, have 2 or 3 on the bench that you can call for proposals. So really take the chance, this opportunity to find new vendors and thoroughly vet them and understand what they can bring to the table when and if you need them. The other and last thing is I just want to talk about self-care. It's essential right now. And I don't think as professional event planners, we're very good at this by nature. I think we run hard and fast on fumes, and we maybe don't take the best care of ourselves. I always laugh because when I'm on a site at an event, a hotel will put me in a fancy room, and I say, I'm probably going to spend about 3 hours in this hotel room, so I'm not really going to enjoy the big, hot tub in the room. Give me a certificate to come back at another time when I'm not running 100 miles an hour, and I might be able to enjoy this a little bit more. So again, the self-care, I know when I finish an event, I'm trying to be all about the pedicure and the massage and, get kind of refreshed to go back out there and fight the good fight. So at this time, like many of you, I'm not able to get pedis or massages. And so find a way to maybe do some self-care treatments. There's a bunch of stuff online that's really fun about self-care. But also limit the amount of negative input that you have coming in. And I think this is critical. You can go down a rabbit hole in a hurry, taking in as much information. Yesterday I heard 3 different sources say that we won't be back online until June. Someone said, and not till the fall, late fall, and then someone said not till next year. So again, a lot of mixed messages, a lot of them very negative right now, and it impacts, you are what you take in. So limit that amount of negative, be informed, find your source of information and plug in regularly so you know what's happening, but don't overdo it on the news intake and the negativity and assuming everybody's an expert with their deadline is gospel. It's not. There's a very changing, evolving kind of situation. So limit the negative intake, and then also balance it with positive intake. There's great music, there's online happy hours, obviously there's, find your support group and make a space to go to them and connect with them virtually and tell them how you're feeling, what you're up to. But make sure in that support group you have some positive people that can inject some good morale at this point in time. Also, rest. Another thing planners don't do well. We can run pretty hard on not a lot of sleep, and that's not such a great thing. I think that waking up without an alarm clock is amazing. I don't know about you guys, but it's really been great. And just resting. Naps, I would have never thought to do that when I was, again, running hard. And I think that they're awesome. There's, make time to curl up and just, it's taking a toll on us physically. And I think that resting is the counter to that. And don't forget to breathe deep. Because we can, breathe, sit somewhere beautiful with the view. Even if you're staying at home, find a good view, or, take a short drive. And I know we're supposed to be staying at home, but you can get outside and take a walk and sit somewhere and take a deep breath and just kind of, really focus on taking care of yourself. And the last thing I want to share is I posted something on LinkedIn yesterday. I was talking with a gal and this light bulb went off for me of why this has been real challenge I mean, there's been a lot of challenges, but why this has been particularly challenging. And I do believe that our nature as event planners is that we operate on deadlines and finish lines, and our work is very cyclical. You know, we have this project mentality, but there's always a driving finish line end zone that informs our decisions and how we spend our days. And the strange thing about the situation is I don't feel like there's a finish line, you know, and I shared in the LinkedIn post, but I do feel like if, you know, when I go to the gym, if I'm talking to a trainer, it is about, tell me how many burpees I need to do. I need to get my mind set based on how many of these I'm going to have to do. And I really do feel like if I'm 10 in, I'm like, ooh, this is hard, but I'm a third of the way there. You know, I have this mental kind of coaching that can happen. If I get to 20, you know, I'm like, okay, you're on the home stretch. And, you know, you get to 25 and you're like, I can do another 5. I feel like there's been so many moments in the 30 years I've been in this business where I have literally said to myself, you got 5 more burpees in you, just hang in there. This is going to be over in a day or two, and just power through this. So having that mindset, and then also just, again, when is the date? So when the date is set for all of us, we kick into, let's create a work back schedule. If this thing is 6 months away, I know what things have to happen 2 months from now and 4 months from now, and then we'll hit the deadline in 6 months. And so if you don't have that finish line, it's a little disorienting to not know how to do a work back schedule, which is what we do for a living. We are driven by deadlines, and our minds are powered by the ability to create a workflow and a game plan based on how long a runway we have. And without the length of the runway, it's been really challenging. So my only tip about that is to recognize that you don't have an event date. Someone is still just thinking about having an event. There's no deadline. You haven't got into the work back process. Just sit in the unknown, sit in the not having an end zone, and this will be a chance for you to learn and grow. And when we get back online, you'll be ready to roll. But at this point, again, just recognize that as an industry, we are programmed to work off of deadlines, and there is no hard deadline at the end of this situation. So I appreciate your time today. Again, I've put together a deck that we can send along with this video, but I hope you're doing well and hanging in there. I know it's a challenge. Again, 30-year veteran, and it's a challenge. We're trying to figure out how to create a new business stream of virtual event support. We're being asked to consult. And you know, use new tools. We're really stretching right now, and I hope everybody's hanging in there. Find your support groups, sharpen your skills, take care of you, and we'll be back next week. I want to share, I'm super excited. We'll be having a Zoom call next week with an amazing speaker, professional speaker, that's going to talk about how to work with your speakers to have them understand how to break the fourth wall, how to make them the most engaging speakers on a virtual platform. So we'll be having an event. We'll be interviewing her. She'll be in a studio. She's going to be talking about how to work with your speakers to get them ready. And so we're going to continue to commit to bringing you great content through the virtual platforms that we have. Always open to chat or discussions. Please reach out. You can subscribe at toolkitevent.com. My email's right there. So let me know if you have a particular challenge, and I'm happy to consult. So be well, everyone. Talk soon. Thanks for joining us.